Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. It's race number 10 of 13 in the regular season before playoffs action. And tonight, it is all about consistency and have you made too many rivals, as it is time for the Operation Tomahawk 125 at Nashville Super Speedway. Concrete racing action. Drivers all have been saying they don't know what they're going to see tonight. We don't know what we're going to see tonight, but we are all excited up in the booth. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be that of Zach Hall. Zach, Nashville Super Speedway, we're seeing the regular season come to a close here very shortly. The pressure's on for a lot of these drivers.
That it is, Sam. Pressure is on, my friend. 4 weeks to go before we decide who those 16 playoff drivers are. This could be a critical race to put yourself in position, not only for, drivers on the outside looking in, but that win could be the critical moment to push them in. You got to get that win, top 20 in points, and you'll be able to sell yourself into those playoffs. It's going to be fun to watch, man. Right around the cut line there at 16, it's really close. I mean, really from about 5 to 6 positions, there's only about 20 points separating those. So it's going to be a very close ending here in the final 4 weeks, and we got some wild racetracks to shake all that up also.
Oh, absolutely. And because everything's getting so close, everything, you don't know what's going to happen. We need another man up in the booth. So being our pit reporter from here on, it's going to be Brian Johnston. Brian, welcome to the Freaky Fast booth. And it's been a while since we've seen you up here, but being our pit reporter, thanks for joining us. And what have you been hearing down in the garage with these drivers?
Well, I've been hearing several things, Sam and Zach. The Nashville Super Speedway is not a track that is usually at the forefront of oval racing. We don't usually think about it much, but here we are. So these drivers are not familiar with this track. So we have several things that we have to keep an eye out for. This is a flat track, so we're going to be thinking about some dirty air. Is going to be super important to avoid, especially coming out of 4. That's something we're going to have to watch in turn 4 as guys kind of plowing, maybe hitting the wall there. Right front tire temps, we're going to have to be watching those as well as the run goes on. The more steering angle that you put into the truck to keep the line that you want to run, the hotter that right front tire temp is going to get. So you're going to want to keep that in check. When you go under green flag pit stops here can be pretty tricky with the pit road entry, and we're going to have to also keep an eye on the track changing with the amount of rubbers. I've heard some guys talk about that, so we will see how it goes. There's some guys that I'm looking at for the short run speed, the 56 of James Loveland, 21 of Kyle Rochelle, and the 57 of Thomas Walter. Looking at their practice times, looks like they're going to be pretty quick on the short run. For the long run, looking at the 15 of Vincent Sword, the 1 of Brandon Cauley, and the 51 of Max Sponer. They seem to have a pretty good handle on that long run speed, also pretty quick on the short run. So those are guys to watch out for. And if we get lucky and don't see any cautions on the second stage of the race today, I'm looking at the 32 of Jonathan Smith to gain some ground. He looks pretty good on the very long run. So those are some guys to watch, some things to look out for as we're about to get going, as qualifying is underway.
Thanks, Brian, and we're going to be hearing from Brian Johnston throughout the night as they'll be getting us more information about what the drivers are feeling like in the moment, as well as he'll be talking to some of the drivers if they're involved in any incidences. But qualifying underway for these drivers. Currently, it's Mark Whitley topping the board with Sean Hutzteller, Loveland, Kyle Rochelle, and that of Vincent Sword going to be your top 5. And we heard Brian talking about that of Kyle Rochelle. There's a couple of other new drivers making their debut here tonight. Zach, excited to see some newcomers coming in, even late in the regular season.
Oh, and I tell you what, Sam, they're heavy hitters at that. That's the thing about this. These guys were added in late into the season. They're going to have some of an effect to this season here ending, I think, definitely. Like you brought up, Kyle Rochelle, one of our Cup Series drivers right now. He's 4th on the board in qualifying. But I tell you, he's always super fast. I race with that guy each Saturday. Trust me, I know how good he is. He's going to be a factor week in and week out. But one of the new names here, GT Irizarry in the 41 machine. We've had him here before on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. He is actually a champion from one of the leagues we broadcast there. So we'll have to see if he can bring some of that championship mentality over here into the truck series. I would not be surprised to see that 41 up in a great position by the end of this race. Right now, 15th on the board, so not the greatest qualifying time. Had some good practice speed, but we'll see what he can do to work his way through the field. We heard from Brian talk about the dirty air and how to, it's going to be tough to pass. So starting farther back, these guys are going to have to watch out, working their way through the field here tonight, being very patient.
As we see that of Anthony Ludi, the 95, on screen. Currently 20th on the board. Going to be seeing if he can best that time. Come across the line as we're less than a minute left in qualifying. And as we're seeing the 95 putting these laps down, big thanks to all the amazing sponsors that we have here tonight at Track Racer. If you're trying to get yourself involved in making a racing rig or finishing a racing rig, go with Track Racer. Refined Gaming. If you'd like a discount code, go to the NAISCC Facebook page, and they'll send you a discount code to help themselves, as well as their primary sponsor at Race Car Graveyard. If you're trying to find yourself and finding collectibles in diecast, well, they've got great selection, anything from 124 ratio diecast to 164th ratio diecast. They've got you covered. If you want to get yourself a discount from those diecasts, use the promo code RCGY at your purchase. And also look up that of Race Car Graveyard on Instagram. And because we're under qualifying and time's running low, big thanks to Hot Lap Designs, our qualifying results sponsor. As if you're looking to get yourself any iRacing schemes for your car, tracksuit, or even for your helmet, Hot Lap Design can get it done. If you're looking for some of the best qualities out there, they are certainly some of the best. Zach, qualifying's coming to a close, and that means it's time for us to take a look at our Hot Lap Designs qualifying results for these drivers. But man, Nashville, it is going to be a fun one here tonight. 125 laps, and Zach, you've got our top 10.
Yes, here we go. Top 10 here tonight for the Operation Tomahawk 125. You got Mark Whitley starting out front after last week. Some drama there at the Milwaukee Mile. We'll see what he can do here tonight in that 77 machine. Starting alongside him is going to be James Lovett. Looks super quick in practice there. Sean Hustle, a great spot for him there, up in the third spot. Fourth's going to go to Kyle Rochelle, our newcomer in the 21 machine. Fifth's going to go to Vincent Sword, our points leader. Sixth is going to be the one of Brandon Cauley. Seventh place going to go to John Forbes. Eighth is going to be the 99 of Trevor Earhart. Ninth place is going to go to Danny Cochran. And rounding out our top 10 here tonight is Max Foder.
In 11th, it's going to be John McAdams, with that of Martin Morales Jr. going to be in 12th. Ethan Smith and Tom Horn going to be 13th and 14th. Jacob Morris and Thomas Walter going to be in 15th and 16th. GT Irizarry is going to be that in 17th, with Kyle Guildhouse going to be to his outside. 19th, we find that of Aaron Kralik, and as well, Joshua Freed going to be in 20th.
21st going to be the 95 of Anthony Ludi. 22nd is going to be Gregory Shaw. Always excitement from him back there. 23rd is going to be Christopher Norris in the 38 machine. 24th is going to go to Cody Dorsey. 25th is going to be Christopher Curick. 26th, Alexander Light. 27th place is going to go to 19 of Tyler Dingler. On his outside will be Jesse Thornick in the 28th position. 29th is going to be Jonathan Smith. And rounding out the top 30 there is Carl Puller.
And it's going to be Jonathan Pike, Tanner Johnson finishing out the drivers that put down at time. Then Cody Reed, and also that of Kurt Schwarzer, going to be finishing out our 34-driver field here tonight. Zach, this is one of the bigger fields that we've had in the last couple of weeks, but certainly drivers excited for tonight, but a lot of the rumblings of not a lot of knowledge on how to run this course. Some drivers, Nashville Superspeedway, kind of one of the newer circuits for these drivers to attack. See how well they can really attack this course, but been here and drivers are not completely confident on how well they can run these trucks here tonight.
Yeah, this is a new playing field here, so to say, here in the Nashville Superspeedway. A lot of drivers, like you said, not the experience that we normally would have at a lot of other circuits, but here tonight we got 125 laps for them to get that experience and learn. I would not even be surprised if we see some guys figure it out as the race goes on and work their way up from where they start. We'll have to watch all that transpire here tonight, but man, it's going to be fun. Concrete racing, 125 laps, and a tough group of drivers.
It's exciting to see how these racers are going to go, but what a sponsor to have. Veterans Day was just a couple of days ago, and it's Operation Tomahawk sponsoring tonight's race at Nashville Super Speedway. It's the Operation Tomahawk 125. We are green as the drivers race down the front stretch and head down to turn number 1.
Mark Whitley going to have a nose ahead of James Loveland as we head down into one. Looks like he'll clear for that lead position. Can Loveland hang on to second, though, as Sean Huffstetter running that bottom lane. He's going to have a slight run here down the back straightaway. It looks like Loveland going to hang on to second with a battle for third. Heats up with Rochelle around the top.
Right now, Rochelle still holding strong with Huffstetter to the outside, and then behind them, it's that of Vincent Sword and Brandon Cauley going to be side by side, but it's going to be Mark Whitley up front, leading lap number 1 here at Nashville Super Speedway. And right now, Mark Whitley doing a great job pulling away, but these drivers that are being aggressive in these first couple of laps, got to be careful. But also, Zach, we heard from the drivers the first about 4 laps, these trucks are not stable.
No, they are not one bit at all. And the big thing I heard from a lot of the drivers also talking to them is you have to get everything done pretty quickly. They said expect wild restarts with drivers really trying hard on these first few laps, because after the tires start to wear, running side by side does not become an option. That bottom lane becomes super dominant as the run goes on. So you're going to see guys really trying to get everything they can here to get positions.
Up front, not a lot of passing going on except for Vincent Sword still trying to get by that of Brandon Cauley. Not able to really do so, but those big moves that you're talking about, haven't seen a lot of drivers making the big moves up front in the top 10. It's really the drivers that are further back around that 18-19 position that have been really on top one. Another biggest mover so far, Christopher Norris, up 5 positions from where he qualified, and hey, first 4 laps, already doing a great job moving forward.
Yeah, definitely moving forward here as he battles with his teammate Gregory Shaw there. He's going to drop to the inside. There's Thomas Walter. But even behind this, you got Alexander Light leading a group of trucks here with John McAdam in the 47, the 95, with Anthony Moody, Cody Dorsey in the 9. They're all side by side stacked up here as they head into turn 3 and 4. We got a caution on the racetrack.
Caution going to be thrown, contact up front, and it's GT possibly here that was involved in it. We're waiting for the confirmation on who spun around. But early yellow being thrown for these drivers.
Yeah, and that's going to be an unfortunate situation, but I tell you what, a heck of a save here from GT is the 41. Like I think you said, I think he's going to be the quick yellow that we got there for this incident. He's got a little contact from Kyle Guildhouse in the 29 to the back bumper.
Yeah, as we're going to be seeing, I mean, right now, I got to say the 41, great save, but you know, racing around drivers that have shown that they're willing to get aggressive at times, and was not a full spin, just got 45 degrees out of shape, and that's what got ourselves our first yellow in the first 5 laps of today's race. Again, these drivers racing stage 1, going to be at the end of lap 55. Only the top 5 will get stage points, as the 41 going to be pulling it into pit road. GT, not the start that he wanted to have here at Nashville, and not the debut start that he wanted, but we've seen a lot of drivers, you know, in the Cup Series for the NAISCC Cup Series, and as well for this Truck Series, Zach, where they might have struggles in the first, you know, 5 to 20 laps, but it always seems like drivers can rebound even with early struggles.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of mental fortitude. You cannot give up. If you go out there and give up and just, you know, ride around, it's not going to work out for yourself. But drivers like GTers are, he knows he's got the champion's mentality that you kind of need in this situation to bounce back from this. So I would not be surprised for him to bounce back. He's got the damage mostly in the rear center portion of that back bumper on his truck there. So I think not too bad with damage-wise. Just really the biggest thing, he just got a little bit of slippage on the tires there. So it's going to take some wear away. He did not change tires, which I think is the right call. He just got that truck worked on and got that minimal damage fixed. And I think he'll be able to, you know, restart out back, but he'll slowly work his way through the field here tonight, possibly in that number 41 machine.
Yeah, he's going to have to work a lot. Was started back up in 17th, going to be losing 15 positions and back in 32nd position. Also, that of Christopher Kirk's going to be another driver that went into pit road, getting a little bit of service done for the 69, as well as John McAdams. Looks like he might be having some internet issues and is disconnected from the session. So we got 33 drivers on track currently and getting ready to go green. Pace car lights are off, and since we've got some time, talked about that of Operation Tomahawk. They are a nonprofit a charity located in that of Massachusetts that works to improve the lives of homeless veterans and their families throughout that of catering meals, fundraising, and overall awareness, as well as the homelessness for and also the focus on suicide suppression awareness for veterans in the community. Operation Tomahawk was started by the current active duty Army soldier Alan Burnhill as well. If you'd like to get any information to help donate or just reach out and get more information, you can go email that of Alan Burnhill at gmail.com. That's ALLANBRAMLILL at gmail.com to get more information, donate, and, helping out our veterans. They help us have the freedom that we've got. And honestly, the homelessness and also suicide and depression for our veterans, something that needs to be touched on. So thank you to Operation Tomahawk for all that you do, and thank you for sponsoring today's race, because we are green once again for the Operation Tomahawk 125, and it's Mark Whitley gone and everyone else snoozing behind.
Man, he was shot out of a cannon there, Sam. He has got about 4 truck links back to the battle here for that second position. Now is looking at Kyle Rochelle, the all-white 21 there, taking the second place position from James Loveland, our Cup Series driver here, showing why he's a past winner there, also working his way through the field.
Yeah, and also we're going to be seeing who can start making some moves forward. I think our biggest surprise has to be the fact that we have not seen Vincent Sword crack into the top 5 just yet. He's been stuck at that of 6th for the longest time, and now stuck side by side with his teammate as we ride on and follow through the back bumper of the 94 Sean Hutzteller. Get a good preview of drivers that are trying to make some moves forward, but it just seems like everyone is stalling out. It's so difficult to make passes up front. Everyone just seems so equal. They were equal during their practice times, even during qualifying, and you can see it on track pace. Everyone staying right on top of one another.
Yeah, it's really impressive how close the times and stuff were in practice. I noticed that also in qualifying and everything. I mean, everybody so close on pace, and that's what we got. We got a good train here of trucks here from the front lead of Mark Whitley all the way back there to around Trevor Earhart there in the 8th position. I mean, there's a whole group of Martin Morales also on the 24 there right in line, and Max Foner in 10th there, pretty much all in one line. As now it looks like that 94 Huffsteller's got up out of groove. It's going to let Danny Cochran in the 2 machine possibly move himself forward, as he was looking at a good run here tonight. Already worked himself possibly into the top 5 here. Well, not going to have a chance there now as Huffsteller clears.
And also we saw on the front stretch cam there, seeing the 24 Martin Morales going onto the apron. It's not the safest place to go, but certainly cutting down the track any way that you can to try to find a little bit more speed and just cutting down time. We're going to be seeing these drivers do everything that they can possible, as Sean Hutzteller still in 5th, lingering now. But Mark Whitley, note on our leader, he pulled away to over almost a half a second lead just on that restart. He's slowly starting to get caught back up. Kyle Rochelle being patient and reeling in that 77.
Yeah, I think Rochelle's definitely going to have to be one to watch for. It seems like he's taking a liking to this concrete surface. We've seen Saturday also, he was very good at Dover. This track at Dover, I do compare somewhat of considerable tracks. I mean, they are made by the same company. It's the same surface material. It's just different bankings. The 14-degree banking here, a lot less than Dover. But I think the same aspects can apply to this surface as there. And I think it's already showing here as he's worked his way already up into the 2nd spot, moving up those 2 positions from 4th. He's going to be a strong one to contend for as we look back here to Tom Bourne. He's also moved up 3 spots from 14th to 11th, Sam.
Yeah, very similar to what we've been seeing from Danny Cochran, who's up in 6th. Both have moved up 3 positions and have been showing a lot of pace. Tom Bourne running very similar lap times to our leader, just didn't have the qualifying time. And this is what we've been seeing from this 31 team when he shows up to races, is the fact that if he can just get probably a better qualifying time, he would be up front challenging for the win. But all that time that he works through traffic, it hinders him from getting the victories at the end of the day. We'll see how well he can be patient moving forward. He's got that of Max Foner ahead of him. And the 51, I was listening in on how his practice was going as we see back to that of Gregory Shaw, who's our biggest mover currently. But for Max Foner, he was talking about how the truck just was tightening up so much on him during practice, wondering if he's going to find any solution to that tight sensation he was feeling during practice and translating a better, looser truck into this race pace.
Yeah, and that's a common theme of these concrete tracks, is just to have that very tight syndrome of a race truck. And unfortunately for him, he's going to have the 31 to his outside now, Tom Bourne, that's going to be in a compromising position. When you're tight, you cannot turn the car when there's a truck on your outside door like that. Tom Bourne possibly going to be able to make the pass around the outside, and it seems like that's going to be the optimal place possibly to make passes as the run goes on critically.
Yeah, and, a lot of these drivers have not put in a lot of time into this track. We've heard about half the field really put a lot of time into practice throughout the week. The other half actually all purchased this track just today before the race. So the experience for some, not completely there. Tom Bourne, one of those drivers, though, that I have seen have experience at other leagues that have raced at this track. So 31 going to be a driver to watch out for, but he's got a lot of work as he's over 2.5 seconds off from our leader, which is Mark Whitley and Kyle Rochelle, still keeping it pretty close with one another. But we're going to go back to that of Gregory Shaw. We were just looking at him earlier. The 66, he is doing exactly what he does every week, Zach. That is be up challenging, might not have the best qualifying time, but he is willing to get aggressive and try to make every pass possible to move forward.
I tell you, if they had an excitement award, we'd give it to the 66. He's definitely had some exciting moments this season. We've seen him, like you said, not had the greatest qualifying runs. It's been kind of an interesting scenario there with the speed he shows during the races. The qualifying is that this is getting a little bit close and spicy here between the 11 of John Forbes and the 66 of Shaw. As Forbes has dropped back from that 7th spot to 13th now. It's kind of a thing I see a lot at times happen for Forbes. He drops back early in the race, then works his way slowly back up, but it does look he might have some right front damage there on that truck. Yeah, he definitely does. So that's going to hurt his truck a lot here at this track, with aerodynamics being a huge factor.
And also got to be careful because behind him, we talked about how Gregory Shaw was so aggressive. Well, the original aggressor in this league for the longest time is the 10 of that. Is you got to be careful as probably almost getting up into the wall, but Jacob Morris for the longest time in the Cup Series and at the beginning of this truck season was all about aggression, and it's so interesting seeing probably two of the most aggressive drivers in this truck series right on top of one another, of Gregory Shaw and Jacob Morris.
Yeah, and Morris is a very strong contender, man. They're getting definitely aggressive here, Sam, as that tip machine got right to the back deck lid of the 11, trying to get him around the 66 and go forward, but we'll see if it works this time. Again, another hit to the back bumper. They're going to pull dead even here with Shaw, as now the 11 clears.
The more they stay side by side, the more that we're going to be seeing more drivers being involved in this. I mean, you've got ourselves about 8, almost 10 drivers just packed on top of one another, even behind these guys. So got to be careful not to be causing any damage, but also don't want to be forcing the issue. They're going to be 3 wide. I got to be careful with that. It's going to be that of Thomas Walter, Gregory Shaw, Cauley coming out of turn number 2. And with how tight these trucks can be, it's a dangerous move of Walter making it stick for now. Guildhouse now wants to get into the mix, as they're going to be still 3 wide through 3 and 4.
What a move by Kralik and the 57 of Walter. They split the 66s. Oh, Morris up ahead of him in the 10 into the wall. That's going to check up Kralik here. A big checkup on the first rally as everybody's looking for a different lane into turn 1.
The big issue, though, is the 8. Joshua Freed got into the outside wall out of turn 4 and then into the outside wall again on the entry of turn 1. So the 8 machine falling back and going to be having a lot of damage on that right side, which is clogging up most of the drivers behind him. But hey, moving through the field, it's that of the 41. Hey, we knew that he was going to be a fast driver. Went all the way back to 32nd position, and GT's now up to 19.
Yeah, and he's taking some positions here left and right, Sam. Yeah, he's in the grass, hard hitting the wall for Freed again, and that's one thing we're seeing. We talked about it pre-race a little bit up here in the booth. Turn 4 is just turning into Calamity Corner with everybody taking that wall down, and that's what GT's took advantage of to move himself back up into that 18th position.
It's getting dangerous, it's getting hectic, and the driver's not knowing what to do, but a man who does have some information, Brian Johnston up in the booth. Brian, what do you got for us?
Well, during that early caution there, I talked to some of the guys just to see how their early race vibes were, and I talked with Sora, the 15 of Vincent Sword. He said he's really struggling on the short run, and you can kind of see that. He dropped from 5th to 7th, but just short run's not there, but he's starting to pick him off, got that long run speed. Talked with the Brandon Cauley over there. I asked him, hey, what's one thing that you're struggling with right now? And the words I got, and I quote, is air, air, air. So that one truck is trying to find some clean air out there. Talked with 21 of Kyle Rochelle as well, and he said main thing right now is it's really tight out of turn 4, and not that he has to worry about it right now with that lead he's got over the rest of the field with him and Mark, but he was kind of worried about guys being a little aggressive on the entries of the corner. So that might be something that we have to watch out for later in the race. And I talked with Thomas Walter, and he had a different take right now. He says his back hurts a little bit, and he wants a juice box. I told him I'd try to find him one, but unfortunately the concessions at Nashville don't have it, so I'm going to have to send an apology note to him.
Well, he might not have found the food or the snacks that he wanted, but he certainly found some courage with some of the moves that he's done so far. Thanks, Brian, for giving us that information. Well, again, we'll hear more from Brian Johnston later on in the broadcast. Great information, and Zach, gotta say, it's nice having a pit reporter giving us those information that, tidbits that we don't always get to hear every single broadcast.
Sam, I'm smiling from ear to ear right now just listening to Brian Johnston bring us that information. Such a good driver he is, but I tell you what, he might even be a better pit reporter. So we may have him a career up here at Freaky Fast, and it's something we definitely will continue to bring here on Monday nights, and it's only going to get better, I think, from here on out, man. But he brought up one person, and that kind of clicked with me, is Vincent Sword. He's actually just made the pass for 4th now, our points leader. He's really been one of the more dominant cars of this season. He's now gotten past Brandon Cauley up to 4th. I do think his long-run pace could possibly pull him back up to these leaders here. And then from there, it's going to get real spicy because, we got the 77 out front. We know the 77 and the 15, not the greatest of friends right now.
Yeah, no, they really aren't. It is a boiling point that is at some point where that water's going to boil over with these drivers. We have been hearing a lot of rumblings of Mark Whitley and Vincent Sword of if they're close to one another, someone might give another driver a bump. They might just run each other into the infield grass or into the outside wall. We don't know what we're going to see, but there's certainly a lot of animosity between one another. But certainly the drivers that are out here racing currently, there is a lot of different big moves that are being made as battling's been going on back. This is for 26th position, and they're still on top of one another with that of Alexander Light as well as Jonathan Smith. We're starting to see some drivers that are battling here, and then also battling that's going on currently for a lot of the drivers up front. But hey, we got to have ourselves a pit road reporter. Hey, let's look at some new things as we're going to ride on board with Alexander Light and get his point of view of what's going on with this 13 machine. And gotta say, Zach, it is still chaotic, even battling back here for the shot to be inside the top 25.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can see right here riding on board with Alex. It is so chaotic. I mean, you're trying to get every position you can. We talked about the aero advantage. We heard guys complaining about that. There's guys searching just for any bit of grip right now. These tires are very worn out, 30 laps into the road on this concrete surface, and they're working hard to find any amount of grip they can back here and gain spots as we near closer to that lap 55 stage here, Sam.
Yeah, lap 55 these drivers are aiming for, and we were trying to calculate what the fuel run would be for these drivers, and it sounded like fuel is not going to be an issue for this first stint, for this stage. So all the drivers, it is all based off of tires on if they can make it to the end of stage 1. And again, only the top 5 get stage points, and currently that's Mark Whitley, James Loveland, Vincent Sword, Kyle Rochelle, and Brandon Cauley. But Zach, as we've been riding on board with this 13, anything you're noticing from his drive that might be hindering him or helping him survive out here at the track?
Yeah, it looks like he's pretty tight right now. We actually get a caution on the race track. Yeah, just change everything up. Oh, no.
I believe Jacob Morris might have been the driver that was involved with this one, and I think pretty similar to what we saw from the 41. A driver not going completely around, but certainly getting some sideways and some help.
Yeah, I think we just had a little Tokyo drift moment there for Jacob, who he was really trying to hang on to it in that 10 machine just because he had a lot of right side damage and was really, really struggling. And, man, luckily he does the same as GT. He saves it and keeps it out of that outside retaining wall, Sam.
Absolutely. I'm sorry for the fact that we're having some technical issues, so we'll try to get the replays when we can throughout the broadcast. We do not have that last one, but we can at least tell you what happened. It was Jacob Morris running hard, then got a bump from Tyler Dangler, that got the 10 out of shape and able to Tokyo drift. Didn't hit the outside wall, so luckily no other damage was added. But we're seeing everyone into pit road, and Zach, we're not surprised by drivers coming into pit road.
Yeah, we talked about it, Sam, before this race, the set of tires we have. We have 5 sets here tonight, so 4 of them in pit road. We were thinking really going to only need technically 2 tires to get this whole race done, 2 sets of those tires. So you're going to have 3 sets of tires that you could possibly use in a different way here. So I definitely, like you brought it up, we were both talking about this. We thought when caution came out, if it was some good portion after that green flag start of this race, they were going to come to pit road and throw on a set of tires, and they've done it. There is one driver, though, 2 drivers, sorry, that have elected not to do that. That would be Brandon Cauley and Tanner Johnston. So 2 drivers here elected not to come down pit road and get those 4 fresh tires, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, where the drivers were lying, you would think, based off the times they would be putting down, Brandon Cauley would be one of the first drivers into pit road. He seemed to be struggling the most out of all the drivers in our top 10 on how much tire wear he was having. But this could be a strategy call from the one. Just lead a lap, try to get a bonus point for himself, as, we were looking at the points, and 16 drivers get to make it into the playoffs. So, if you're in the top 20 and have a win, you're locked in, and then everyone else is going to be pointing their way into the playoffs. And Zach, crazy stat, but you said practically everyone still has a chance to point their way in, but there's some drivers that are in some almost impossible situations to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, you would need mathematically it is still there. With 4 races to go, 62 points available for a finish for you if you get a max points race, which for them would put you in a winning scenario, which throws a whole other circumstance to the things that you got to make the top 20. But there's 248 points pretty much out there available for these drivers to go and get, and nobody is more than 248 back from that 16 place cut line. So technically, mathematically, there is a chance there, but you would need so many people to have catastrophic races, miss races, get very low numbers of points for it to work out. So really, in my opinion, you got about at least 15 to 10 drivers who can still have a really good chance to make it with 4 races to go.
I mean, it still makes things exciting with the amount of racing that's still out there, as drivers getting stacked up. Lights are still on, so it gives us some time to thank more of our sponsors. That at Uniformities, if you're looking to get yourselves any scrubs or embroideries or even any other essentials in the Jacksonville, Florida area, Uniformities, they've got you covered, and some of the best scrubs out there. Thank you so much for being a Freaky Fast broadcasting sponsor, as well as ButtKicker and McConey Setup Shop. But we'll talk about ButtKicker and McConey Setup Shop a little bit more later on in the show, as still a lot of racing, under 100 laps to go, Zach. But these drivers, I think this is probably going to be one of the most important restarts if you're looking to get stage points right here. And Brandon Cauley, I think this is going to be the biggest head scratcher for most of these drivers.
Yeah, this is man, this is going to put him in an awkward scenario, Sam. He's going to start here with the lead. Looking at the lap times, it's about a 1.5 seconds of fall off here. That's going to be very slow compared to the rest of the field. He's just going to have to do a good job here of trying to survive. Maybe, I don't know the strategy here. I think he's thinking maybe we'll get more cautions maybe later in the race to give him advantages with those tire sets that he'll have extra. But at this point, I think this is going to end up being a track position loss for him. But you never know. We'll see how it works out. We've seen crazier things from the Truck Series here, but he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's here, watching out as the field's going to drive by very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. As, notable drivers that are going to be starting further back because of damage or other issues: Alexander Light, John Forbes, Caller Cooler, that of Kyle Guildhouse, that of Joshua Free, Tanner Johnson, all stayed in. Tanner Johnson, one of the later drivers coming to pit road. Vincent Sword, though, going to be the last car in line in 33rd position. The 15, a lot of work for our points leader coming into tonight's race. But the pace car pulls off, and we get ready. Green flag back in the air for the Operation Tomahawk 125 here at the Nashville Super Speedway. And Brandon Cauley, great launch for himself. And if anything, Zach, these quick starts that we're seeing from these guys up front, showing if you're the leader for a green-white checker, you're going to be in a prime spot. It's Mark Whitley right on the back bumper of the 1, and Brandon Cauley is a sitting duck going into turn 3.
Yeah, I was surprised they weren't there already in 1 and 2. Luckily, he got a good jump. But look at this around the outside. Here comes the 77.
Oh, contact!
Oh, man, Loveland's going to save it with the contact between him and Rochelle. Loveland, though, dropping multiple spots here as he falls through the field.
From 3rd back to 12th is going to be that of James Loveland, but able to continue to stay straight somehow for the 56, but they're wrecking behind. Yellow flag waves as they're wrecking, and Vincent Sword involved in this one.
Oh, no, not our points leader here involved in our 3rd caution of the night and got himself back in the pack. And that's the mess that you get yourself in when you get farther back there, as I think contact between the cars on the outside of them there. I'm trying to see exactly what numbers those are as we go back on the replay.
It's going to be that of Alexander Light, Guildhouse, and I believe as
Looks like
well.
Kirk Schweizer?
I believe so. And yeah, that's Schweizer. That's going to be that driver. And so we're trying to get just by the carnage that happened above him, but not able to collect it in that one. And I mean, Zach, this is something we've seen all season long. The drivers that are further back battling for 30th position, they just seem to be overdriving and competitive drive kicks in, but you're racing for last place practically. These drivers seem to be just a little bit too overzealous in these restarts, and we've seen it all year long.
Yeah, it's so easy to do when you're back there trying to battle for everything you got, but the race is so long. You got to know sometimes backing out of situations like that, they will be a lot better in the end of the day, and you won't get caught up in stuff. So drivers will figure it out, and that's the bumpy road of being a sim driver, man. I mean, you literally you got to learn from your bumps and bruises, and hopefully that's how you learn, and you don't continue to get more of them.
Well, I said we were going to talk about them more. I think the drivers just wanted to hear all of our sponsors. As big thanks to ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. If you're liking to get yourself a Gamer 2, which is a way to feel the sounds instead of just hearing them, works for any source that you're looking to work with. It's just a plug-and-go system. Get yourself a Gamer 2 with ButtKicker. And also, if you'd like to get 20% off of your Gamer 2 or any purchases from ButtKicker, use the promo code FreakyFast20. That's Freaky with 2 E's to get yourself 20% off. Again, that is FreakyFast20 all together. And that's Freaky with 2 E's for 20% off at ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. And Zach, I think the biggest surprise might be for a lot of these drivers up front. Brandon Cauley still staying out in 3rd position.
Yeah, that's so risky. I mean, you know what? I think he feels like he's already dug his bed. He's gonna just go ahead and sleep in that bed that he's pretty much set for himself right now. And I tell you what, that's an awkward position to be in, starting in 3rd there with the mold tires. But as these laps go on and we get more and more pace laps, it does cool the tires down. So he will have a little bit of a pace gain compared to where he was at the end of that first run when we got that caution. But at the same time, he's still going to, once we get some heat build up and the heat gets back into those tires, he's going to really start to struggle. And he just kind of got lucky by that caution there to still be hanging on 3rd, as he was already to the outside, dropping back many positions. It's going to be tough for him. He's going to have a long road ahead of him here, and hopefully nobody too overzealous get into the back bumper.
Yeah, that is the one thing we're hoping, that we don't see drivers running over one another, but that's kind of what put James Loveland and Kyle Rochelle in the position where they did make contact, is because they kind of got squished in accordion into where Brandon Cauley was running on the inside. So all these drivers getting set, ready to go. But speaking of cooling off, that's exactly what this track has been doing. It's been doing it since practice. Practice was when this track was at its hottest. I think it was around 95 was the track temp at the start of practice. This track has cooled off a ton here into the race. I think it is down to about 81 degrees Fahrenheit on the concrete here at Nashville Superspeedway. So drivers dealing with the cooler track that could still get cooler and cooler as the race rolls on. But currently up front, Mark Whitley, Kyle Rochelle, Brandon Cauley, Ethan Smith, Danny Cocker going to be your top 5. Mark Morales, Sean Hudsteller, Trevor Earhart, Max Foner, and GT Arizari is going to be your top 10 as the drivers are getting ready to do one more pace lap.
Yeah, and you brought up the cooling temperatures, Sam. If this track keeps cooling off, one thing that's going to be interesting, if we get a late race restart, I'm going to be watching these lap times. We came in here tonight, it looks like the fastest time so far turned was by Mark Whitley at that 29.90. That's only 0.3 off of the track record actually set by the trucks here at this racetrack. So we are not far off that track record. If the track continues to cool down, I could possibly see someone reaching farther down there in the lap time bracket and getting closer to that track record. So that's something we'll have to watch for tonight as the speeds pick up and this track picks up some more rubber.
Yeah, I mean, this track, it's so unique. It's concrete, and also with the fact that we heard from Brian Johnston earlier during our pre-show, you know, the fact that this track is pretty flat. There's not a lot of banking to work with. Yes, there's plenty enough to go side by side, and we saw even 3-wide racing, but this course only 1.33 miles in length, shorter than a lot of our intermediate tracks, such as, you know, the mile-and-a-half courses like Atlanta, Kansas, Las Vegas. So these drivers are dealing with a little bit of a smaller course than what they're used to these cookie cutter courses. But hey, this is all about how well you can conquer it as we're getting closer and closer. It's going to be less than 15 laps to go in stage number 1. Mark Whitley, Kyle Rochelle already on the throttle and heading into turn number 1. Top 4, top 5 all in line. It's side by side for 6th place.
Whoa, man, it's Smith taking a look there in the double zeros. You can see Brendan Cauley. He's dropping back in the inside line. This is going to stack up Danny Cochran, and anybody in the inside line is trying to now jump to that outside lane. As you can see now, everybody trying to single file around that one, and that's so tough. He's on the older tires to hold that bottom while these trucks drive by so fast.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think with a driver with older tires, they would want to put themselves on the higher line just to let other drivers go. So you can tell that for Brandon Cauley, this is a defensive move, trying to force the issue for other drivers as the one continues to fall back now to 8th place. Up front, it's still Mark Whitley and Kyle Rochelle. Well, primarily Mark Whitley, who is gone by 0.4 of a second. These restarts have just shown if we get into a green-white checker situation, whoever's the leader most likely is going to win today's race, as the one still on the inside, falling back to 10th place. He's now got that of Max Boner and Loveland right on the back bumper.
Yeah, you can see him continuing to drop back, and I think you brought up a good point. If you're the leader at the end of this race, you're going to have a good shot to win this race. So I think people need to jot that down in their notebooks, get track position when we can. It's, oh man, Brandon Cauley, a 3-wide back here. He's going to let out of this, let Thomas Walter, Cody Reed, multiple drivers go by. There's Jacob Moore's contact between him and the 10. Almost wrecks the 10 there as they're going around behind.
Pike able to hold on somehow after contact between himself and Forbes, and drivers now just trying to limp their way through. Norris going to be on the outside just holding on, but somehow Pike holds on, and now they're wrecking.
Yeah, that I seen that one coming, guys. That was people trying to get spots there when we had that huge checkup and runs met with each other, and the 32 and the 23 there, major contact between Tanner Johnston and Jonathan Smith there to bring out this caution here, and that was a huge hit.
I'm rewatching it. Yeah, I mean, people just trying to force the issue as we get to take a see a replay. You see Jesse Thordick's going to be on the inside, but they're going to be forcing it 4 wide with that, oh man, 32 as well as the 23, and Thordick's nowhere to go, and that's just a lot of drivers that, like you said, trying to gain everything they can in one fell swoop, and it backfired quickly.
Yeah, it backfired so fast. I mean, Tanner Johnston, I mean, he had a run, a gigantic run on the 32 of Jonathan Smith there. And with everybody checking up, I think Jonathan Smith kind of was running that middle lane there, and the 23 and him just make slight contact there as they're trying to split 2 cars that were slowing down. And right there, chain reaction event, and everybody just kind of gets involved in that. And that all started right there with the incident between Brandon Cauley and Jacob Morris. Brandon lets the drivers by, slides up into the 10. That causes a checkup behind him. And then 5 cars behind that is where the wreck happens. It just shows you how one incident can lead to a completely different one on the other side of the track.
With the timing of this yellow, it's putting drivers in a spot where half the field that were not involved in that wreck now decided if they want to come in, take a set of tires, and we noted on it, drivers have 4 sets to work with. So if you're trying to have a great run and track position for later on in this race, you're going to do everything you can to get up front. Sean Hutzstettler, Brandon Cauley, both going to be coming into pit road with John Forbes and Jacob Morris, and as well Thomas Walter, but everyone else behind them, heavy damage they're going to be dealing with. But I think the driver that might have lucked out, who could have gotten an engine blown after using a fast repair, Vincent Sword, somehow went back on the replay. The 15 drove through Tanner Johnson and got 0 incident or damage with it, so lucked out was the 15.
Yeah, I don't know how he ended up out of that fine, but yeah, he actually was able to make it through there, and we'll see what he can do. It's not going to be good for stage point scenario here, still this far back, but our points leader, I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, you know, we looked at GT Arizari, you know, about 30 laps ago, he was put all the way to the dead last part of this field. He's back up to 8th. That just shows you, do not give up. You can make your way back through with time here, and especially with some cautions to help.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was involved in our first caution of the day, fell all the way back to last place trying to recover, and he's had 3 cautions after that of drivers just kind of racing, you know, some say over their heads, getting a little bit too aggressive. And you know, also this course, like we noted on, there's a real lack of experience with a lot of drivers on how to attack this course, and when there's a lack of understanding of how to race this track, and you're put in situations where drivers are bouncing off the wall, bouncing off one another, sometimes you just don't know how to even react, and it puts you in positions where you might get yourself wrecked or involve someone else.
Yeah, it's one of those split-second decisions that you got to make, and you know, people are trying to go for, you know, they're trying to go for spots, and they see these checkups, and they want to go out there, get the position when they can. But at the end of the day, sometimes, you know, you can't force 4 cars or 4 trucks into a spot that, you know, can hold 6. But, you know, those 4 trucks need to be able to stay in, you know, that line there to not be able to make contact. And it just ends up collecting other people, and that's how you get some hurt feelings out there on the racetrack, and you don't make friends.
It's like something we touched on it, you know, it's kind of developed and evolving is when we went from the first 3 or 4 races of the season where it was arc or brake drivers running over one another to now, hey, you see still positions that can be gained, but I think the core of all that we always talk about is patience. That is one of the biggest things of racing, is having that patience and that balance of when to put yourself in a risky situation and when to maybe just back out and wait for the other drivers to make mistakes so you don't wreck your machine. And that balance is what's so hard about racing, and also just finding the luck to avoid the carnage that's around you, that even if you're being patient or aggressive, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, you notice the guys that usually are, you know, the guys that are winning races, competing for championships, they never seem like they get in incidents. It's very rare where you say, oh, this guy's involved in a incident here and is in a wreck. It's because they have that knowledge, that awareness, be able to react earlier than the average driver would. And that's something drivers gain as time goes on. We'll see if some people can pick up on that as we continue to build here at the NAISCC Truck League.
Well, it's time to see how these drivers can attack. It's going to be a 5-lap shootout to see who's going to be able to be in the top 5 for the stage points here tonight. It is the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series with Operation Tomahawk 125. Let's see who can get it done. Mark Whitley already on the loud pedal, but Kyle Rochelle, a decent restart and dropping down, kind of blocking Ethan Smith from the 00, getting a good run. But here comes that is Smith to the inside, right to the quarter panel, and being aggressive into turn number 1.
Yeah, that was a lot of aggression shown by the 21. Same for the 00. He sends it to the inside, but very good job on Rochelle to clear him off of turn 2, able to take that second spot with authority and hold on there. Is now look at this, Mark Morales. He was looking, you know, the 00 there in the turn 3, as he's having a great run here tonight. He's got Danny Cochran in the 2 right behind him also.
And now we're also going to be seeing drivers trying to pick and choose where they want to place themselves. Trevor Earhart's going to be ducking it low, trying to get by that of Danny Cochran. I mean, trying to get moving if he can to get by that of Mark Morales and Danny Cochran, as they are pressuring to see who could be in that 5th place position. Again, 5th place, only 1 bonus point, but we've seen where just 1 point can get you in or out of the playoffs. Tom Bourne in 31 also going to start to get himself in the bottom lane to try to get moving, but that 5th place position currently being held by the 24, Mark Morales, as he is side by side with the 2. Hey, why not just make a wall to make sure no one can get by you? With Tom Bourne forcing the issue and trying to make the inside lane move, but when there's a wall of drivers, it's so hard to make even a pass. Morales, crossover move to the inside of Danny Cochran.
Great racing we're seeing here. Morales not giving up on that spot. He says, I want it back from Cochran, as Cochran's going to clear there. Down into 3 or 4 here, possibly off of 4, see if he can get it done. But no, Morales fights back. Man, what a battle we're seeing between these drivers here. Look at Tom Board there stuck on the bottom, trying to make his way through. Also, this is some great race action here so far at Nashville.
You can tell Tom Bourne giving a little bit of a bump to that of Mark Morales as they're coming out of turn number 2. 2 laps to go, but Danny Cochran holding 4th, Morales in 5th, but up front are top 3. That of Mark Whitley, Kyle Rochelle, Ethan Smith, they're pulling away. The issue's not there. It's on who can get the 5th place position, and Morales is doing a great job. White flag is stage number 1. Only the top 5 get those points. In the 24, his driver to watch out for is the 99 of Trevor Earhart into turn number 1.
Yes, it is. Maybe those top 5 positions only pay points here. Martin Morales in that 5th position, directly behind Danny Cochran, but he's got some hungry drivers behind him here as we head down to 3. He's going to have Trevor Earhart looking to the inside.
I think the drivers are recognizing big picture. Don't force the issue. So up front, that of Mark Whitley, once again up front, winning another stage. Stage 1 here at Operation Tomahawk goes to that of the 77. Kyle Rochelle with his debut race for the Truck Series going to get 2nd, Ethan Smith in 3rd, Danny Cochran 4th, and Martin Morales going to get that 5th place position here. What a run for these drivers. Those top 5 going to be getting bonus points for themselves. And as stage 1 comes to a close, we bring in our pit road reporter, Brian. What a stage 1. What knowledge have you gotten for us?
Yeah, what a race we have had so far. I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you guys, but I just had a talk with the 23 of Tanner Johnston, and he was involved in that last wreck there that we had not too long ago. He said that, he saw the 38, I believe it was, on his on the high side up there. He thought he had the room to go in there, but said he thought that the 32 must have been a little bit higher than he expected. He mentioned that guys are racing really hard in the back, and this isn't exactly what he needs for being on the bubble for the playoffs with the points. So he says not looking too great points wise, but he says he's hopeful he'll get back on the lead lap, and definitely this stage helps, and all he needs is another caution and he'll be back up there. So I wouldn't count his day out just yet. He might have a good race. Also talked with Max Motorsports a little bit. One thing I did take away from them was that they mentioned that it's really easy for 1 or 2 trucks to hold up a lot of guys just because it is so hard to pass, and that's something that I've heard from a lot of guys in the field. I talked with Sword just after his pit road penalty about maybe 20 laps ago, and just a miscommunication on his part, wasn't thinking what the pit road speed was, and he said that overall the truck is tight, and said the same thing that he said earlier in the race, that can't find the short run speed, but he says that even though the truck is really tight, he's feeling really great on the long run. So hopefully he can find his way up through this pack and get back up into the top 10, top 5, and make a good day out of it.
Thanks. That's Brian Johnson, our pit road reporter. And Zach, that is some information. We were curious on why Vincent Sword was so far back, speeding under pit road. That's the reason why. Crazy to think, one simple mistake, and he's already, because he was so far back, was forced into using a fast repair. And for the drivers that are up front, they're now going to be put in a pretty tricky situation. As Zach, look up front, the whole top 7 have not pitted yet. It's Mark Whitley who came out of the pit road first, but he's back in 8th place currently.
Yeah, this is kind of the scenario I was thinking here, because we just had that caution right before that stage, where they really only got to run 4 or 5 laps. Yes, that is a difference on the tires, but these drivers pitted on that caution there. They are all going to use this as a track position game. This is going to shake everything up. I mean, you got Cody Reed 30, 31st. We got to give him credit for that. First of all, getting himself out in the lead now. But, man, you're going to have 7 drivers on older tires, and not that much older tires. So it's not going to be, super easy passes. These are not going to be, they're not going to be the toughest passes to make, but it will take time, and whoever works their way through the best and gets through here is going to be very critical in what lane you choose. If you go to the bottom and that lane stacks up, the outside lane goes, you could have Kyle Rochelle jumping ahead of Mark Willie, Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran. Any one of those drivers could use this time to jump ahead of the guys that are on their strategy. This really just threw a lot of stuff into this scenario here for these drivers now.
Oh, absolutely. I also love the fact that what Brian brought up, and we kind of saw it there at the end of the stage when two drivers are side by side, they just clog up the track and you just cannot get going. If one of those lanes, I mean, if they both stall out, there is nowhere to go. And we got a great picture of that. Lights are still on, so we're expecting lights to go off when they cross the line again. But Zach, I mean, these drivers, they've got a handful of just trying to hold on to this truck as well as figuring out what lane to go. It is going to be a chess match of, a little bit of guessing, a little bit of, banking on drivers that you can trust that can make some passes here or there.
Yeah, that's where it's going to get interesting. You put your trust in a lot of these drivers. Always the question, the age-old question is, do you go to the outside or the inside to make the pass? The inside is technically the tougher spot. It is the preferred groove when you're all by yourself, but when you have a truck on your outside, it just compromises your entry and your exit, where you cannot let your truck go out towards that wall and use the whole racetrack. So really picking and choosing is going to be the best, but when you put yourself on the outside, you also put yourself in jeopardy of that truck on the inside slipping up into you, and then that's none of your own doing. You're out and out of some damage. So man, it's a tough decision to make from the driver's seat, but you got to be able to make the right one if you want to be up front.
Well, there's one thing they don't have to worry about, and that's the fact that stage racing is over. Stage 1 is done, and now it's all about who can get the win here at the end of the day. Cody Reed, Sean Hutzstutler, Jacob Morris, Thomas Walter, John Ford, Jesse Thordick, and Brandon Cauley, going to be our top 7 that are on older tires, just 5 lap of Green Flag Racing older tires in the rest of the field, but we'll see how well they can defend everyone else. Thank you, everyone, for joining us Monday nights on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We love the fact that all of you are here to watch some of the best racing on Monday night, and they're already stacked up 3 wide before they even cross the line. Thomas Walter forcing the issue, and oh boy, the 57's got to be careful of making moves like that at the start of these restarts.
Yeah, I was about to say this is about to get crazy down here into 1, but they're still going to be all side by side. Reed up front, holding on to the lead, but he's dropping back to the second place drivers of Hutzstutler and Morris right now as the field continues to stack up. I think this could get very interesting now as Whitley in the 77 trying to make a move on Brandon Cauley, who's to the inside of Walter.
And they're going to be 3 wide even behind him. It's going to be that of Thordick, who's going to be trying to force the issue. Does a great job for himself, but they're going to be side by side for second. That of Morris and Hutzstutler, and then you've also got Mark Whitley, who's going to get by that of Walter, who just continues to fall backwards. And then they're going to be 3 wide even further back than them. Tom Bourne going all the way to the inside, trying to get by that of Smith and Rochelle. Not able to do so just yet, but Zach, this is what those older tires compared to fresh tires can bring us. They're drivers that can be impatient, making some bold moves, as we see GT, Tom Bourne, all just stacked up, trying to figure out how to get by that of Smith as we ride on board with the 41. It's just madness out here.
It really is, Sam. I tell you what, there was 4 trucks, bumper to bumper to bumper, and I don't know how none of them made contact, but they didn't. You couldn't even fit a piece of paper between them. It was so close. It was very impressive to see as they're still jockeying for positions. Danny Cochran trying to move his way forward as we ride on board with GTC. He gets the run to the inside of Ethan Smith. Everybody trying to go forward as all these strategies are playing out.
It is all about getting to the inside of the other driver, and if you've got fresh tires, you're most likely going to make the pass, as Tom Bourne is going to be trying to stay on the back bumper of the 21 of that of Kyle Rochelle, as well as the 2. They've got John Forbes just in front of them. John Forbes on those older tires. So right now we're seeing everyone that's on fresh tires getting moving, but everyone's eyeing the fact that Mark Whitley, currently the highest mover of the drivers on fresh tires, and then behind him 2 positions back, it's Danny Cochran in the 2, Justin 6th position. That's going to be the other driver with 4 fresh tires. Then it's Kyle Rochelle, Tom Bourne. Those are going to be the drivers that are trying to make the moves as fast as possible to make sure they do not see that 77 get to the lead too fast, and they're able to at least keep themselves in close proximity before they all make the pass by the older tires.
Yeah, and Rochelle's the one who lost out the most in all of that scenario there, the 21. He was directly behind Whitley. He now drops back multiple drivers. Now is, look at this, Vincent Sword trying to make his charge up through. Here comes Trevor Earhart. There's Thomas Walter up top. Oh, almost close contact there as Sword going to back out. A great decision from the young driver there.
Yeah, Vincent Sword, as well as that of Jesse Thordick, and on top of that, Danny Cochran and Jacob Morris. All of those drivers have already used their fast repair. So yes, you can tell they want to race aggressive, get up front, get past the lap traffic. I mean, the traffic that's in front of them. But it is extremely difficult currently for these drivers to make any types of moves, especially when they know their safety net is gone and we're just at past halfway.
Yeah, and I can tell you what, Sam, just looking at the trucks that didn't pit, that are still out front, Brandon Cauley, Sean Huffstetter, Cody Reed, dirty air is a real thing here tonight. We've heard it so many times from drivers, but it's actually becoming a huge factor as right now Reed able to hold on to the gap out front ahead of Huffstetter, who's right there. Brandon Cauley, though, back in third. He's got Mark Whitley all over the back deck lid, and I think Whitley finally going to get to the outside here. He may have a good shot here down to 1 and 2.
Mark Whitley battling for third, going to get to the outside of that of Brandon Cauley, and Cauley's doing the best thing that he can, just stay low, trying to defend, as we also get to see what's going on for the 5th position back to that of 6th place. Tom Bourne trying to pick and choose where he's going to go. But I got to say, we're seeing all these drivers, the battling that's going on. Mark Whitley, if he can somehow get to the lead, get that fresh air, that is dangerous for a lot of the other drivers behind, especially if we stay green.
Ooh, close contact possibly between the 1 and the 77 as they're still side by side for that 3rd position. A little bit of door banging there with the side draft from the 1, but I think this time the 77 going to be clear. Those newer tires going to the front.
And Mark Whitley, I think the biggest thing for him also is get up front, get to that fresh air, and make sure that he does not see the 15 of Vincent Sword. Sword going to be a driver to watch out for as Mark Whitley, again, to the inside, going to be trying to take that 2nd place position, and much easier spot to be on the inside making this pass over that of Sean Huffstetter. We'll see if Cody Reed can try to defend and stay low and force the 77 to the outside, but right now we're seeing the 2 and the 31 pass possibly going to be made for the driver that's going to be running 2nd of those on the fresher tires.
Tom Bourne trying to make his way up here into the leader's positions. He is, though, working so hard here tonight for that 14th position, just not able to get it done as Cochran's going to shut the door on him there and pull himself into that 5th position, man. That's a great battle there, though.
Tom Bourne comes into the night 36th in points. This is his 3rd start of the season. And you got to say, for this 31 team, he's shown speed at every single time he's shown up, but the luck has just not been there for the 31 machine as Mark Whitley able to make the pass for that lead position, but you can just see the closing rate of that of Cauley compared to Danny Cochran and Tom Bourne. It's just, we noted on it, pick a lane and hope that that's the one that starts moving forward.
Yeah, and Tom Bourne is trying to push Cauley by the 2 to try to get to the outside of the 2, but I think the 2 of Danny Cochran are a little too strong right now. As actually a little tight off of 2 there. That's going to give Cauley the good run, but this is also going to let Bourne get to the outside of the 2. This is what he wants to see right here.
I just hope that the lane can get going, but they're side by side still. Cochran's going to be starting to move up. Got to be careful as we've been seeing these guys battling side by side. Let's get a sense of how Danny Cochran is trying to hold off Tom Bourne as the 2 machine goes into turn number 1.
Man, oh man, he's trying everything in his power here to get by Danny Cochran. But Tom Bourne here around the outside, he's going to get to the outside of this 2 machine as the 2's trying to go to the inside of Sean Huffstetter. That's the thing, which lane goes. We talked about all night, you got to pick and choose. Right now, though, the bottom lane going. Tom Bourne with a big run to the back of the 2.
I think at this point, Tom Bourne's best advantage would be to just follow Danny Cochran. Let him be the driver that uses up all of his stuff, trying to make these passes work. And once there's, clearance and there's not drivers with older tires, then start to make your passes and moves to try to get by the 2 machine. And right now, I think Tom Bourne recognizing, hey, let's just follow the 2 as we try to catch up to that of Cody Reed.
And man, it's really starting to stack up now. Rochelle starting to work his way into the picture. Also in the 21 machine, as you can see now on board with Danny Cochran up in the 3rd. He can see Reed closing in on him as Whitley. He is starting to check out, wanting to see if his tires.
Oh no, contact going to be made back in 7th. This car sideways, hard pitting. Sean Huffstetter into the wall as it's also the 41 and others involved in the incident through turns 1 and 2.
Oh man, multiple drivers. GT Irizarry caught up in that mess, and just Morris and Huffstetter there, you making the initial contact to bring this yellow out here as that 94 goes around.
It was one of those things where you're hoping that we're not going to see big wrecks happen. We're starting to see drivers get a little bit more spaced out, but when you get away from our top 5, everyone else still jam-packed and also trying to get by those older tires. As Sean Hutzstutler slowing down, and Jacob Morris just was not expecting that, complete kind of a break in the center of the corner, really. Smith nowhere to go, the 41 hard into the wall. Vincent Sword also involved potentially there. Can't confirm if he was made contact or not, but he was certainly in a very precarious spot for himself. Currently in 9th position is Vincent Sword, but hard contact for that of Sean Hutzstutler.
Yeah, I can confirm damage on the left front of the 15 of Vincent Sword, our points leader. So working his way back up through the field, caught in another incident here. He's got to get that truck worked on. Hopefully nothing too bad, but it does look like a little bit of splitter damage, which gives me major concern as a driver.
Well, drivers coming into the pit road, getting service done, and as they do that, us in the booth, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see where the drivers lie after this pit stop. But thanks again for following us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Monday Night Racing, it's the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. We'll be back in just a few.
To be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that McConey Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairground Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at McConey Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, McConey Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to McConeySetupShop.com and learn why McConey Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hey, it might be a danger zone up front. Where green, once again, top three are going to be on older tires than the rest of the field. So watch out. Gregory Shaw is going to get a great launch for himself. Freed as well as Pooler going to be on the inside. And Mark Whitley, great launch for himself. And he is pulling away on the outside. Zach Hall, Sam Dyer up in the booth. It is crazy and madness up for sixth on back.
Oh, man, this is about to get real crazy here. As you see Pooler on the inside there in the 71. He's just trying to hold his lane as everybody's trying to come through at the head of steam. Tom Bourne in the 31 trying to look for any bit of room to get through. Ethan Smith in the 00. It's all over the place here with Rochelle dropping down low.
Got any questioning, was that net gain? It's staying out of contact. Pooler, Bourne to the inside, and the 31, no yellow goes thrown as it's off-track surface. But oh no, Max Boner not going to be involved. Tyler, that other driver's going to be spun around, but we still stay green somehow, Zach. But this is not safe with the amount of drivers, and especially with how slow the drivers were that decided to stay out.
Yeah, this shook everything up, man. Really threw the whole field for a loop. Oh, there's major contact. I think Earhart going around actually back here.
And that's going to be bringing out the yellow officially. It's the 99, and at this point, that was needed with all the times that we could have seen a yellow being thrown. And, Zach, there are going to be, we were already noting on Mark Whitley, Vincent Sword, they're having their frustrations between one another these last couple of weeks. I think the rest of the field, they're starting to feel a little bit of anger now as we take a look at what brought out our yellow in the 24. Morales, Earhart contact in the 99. Tried to hold on, couldn't, and away he went.
And man, oh man, like you said, I think we're forming two rivalries for sure. Definitely going to be some heated discussions, I think, throughout the week. And, that's the passion people bring for this league here. It's all serious. This is, at the end of the day, this is for fun and game. But at the end of the day, also, it's about going out here and getting the best position you can and racing your competition. And when you get slighted by your competition, you're not going to feel happy. And I definitely feel some tempers raising here as this race continues on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tom Bourne, he was the first car to be kind of shunted off the course. He was trying his best to get by Pooler the cleanest that he could. And the rear quarter panel knocked the 31 into the grass, and then we saw Max Foner and another group. That was the second collision that still didn't bring out a yellow, and it was finally contact between the 24 and the 99 that brought out the yellow officially. But and now we talk on early issues that drivers can have when you get caught up in cautions in the first 10 to 15 laps. You have time to rebound, carve your way through the field, get back up front. But, Zach, they're starting to see the tail end of this race. We're past halfway. We're coming up close to the final quarter of this race. These drivers don't have a lot of time left to even try to rebound if you're this far back.
No, it's getting to the point now where you need the track position. Giving up track position, dropping yourself back there with damage is just not going to play out the way you're going to need it to work out for you. So, right now, I think personally, if you're in the top 10, you're in a pretty good spot now to have a shot at really anything legitimately in the top 10. If you're outside that top 10, you're just going to be trying to get back in there because it's going to be a tough road from here on out. 7 cautions throughout this night. You could very easily be right in the next one if something happens. As the Nashville Super Speedway, it's definitely took a toll on a few guys out here tonight.
Nashville has not been playing kindly at all for a lot of these drivers, and you look at, we'll look forward the next 3 weeks, the final 3 races of the regular season. If you think you're having troubles here tonight, it just ramps up and gets worse, in my opinion. We go to Martinsville next week. That's going to be a cluster of drivers that have been talking about that race since the start of the season. What's going to happen at the paperclip? Then after that, we go to Pocono. We got a little bit of a glimpse of how Pocono could be running this about 2 Saturdays ago. And then on finishing things off for the regular season, Richmond, which Richmond in the Cup Series last season for the NAISCC Cup Series. Zach, you kind of got a feel of it while driving. It is, you never know what you're going to find at Richmond. So these next 3 races, chaotic and unknowing.
Yeah, and with what's on the line too, that Richmond race had a lot on the line for us also. So it definitely shook things up, man. But I tell you what, Brisbane's going to be fun to watch. Not only that, but Martinsville also. We got some short track racing to go for sure. And all the bent fillings and fenders are just going to get bent even more before we head off into the playoffs.
Well, race admins are getting a little bit impatient as they have already advanced it to 1 to go. So we're going this time by. So it's going to be Mark Whitley, Adam Cody Reed, Danny Cochran, Kyle Rochelle, and Ethan Smith going to be your top 5. See the flag man ready to wave it. We've going to have another restart here, but will it be our last? We'll find out. Mark Whitley already on the loud pedal and gone on the restart. It's the Operation Tomahawk 125 here in Nashville Superspeedway, and it's side-by-side for second place into turn 1.
And man, oh man, what another great start from our leaders, just showing once again having that lead is going to be critical if we have a late race restart. But man, Whitley shout out McCann. Cochran will take home second. There is third with Reed, but Smith trying to take it from Rochelle there in the 4th position.
Ethan Smith has shown that he's got the speed to be a top 3 driver as he's battling with Kyle Rochelle, but Rochelle at the same stint, he's shown that he's got some speed to be up front. The biggest surprise up front is that of Cody Reed, currently in 3rd place. This 25 qualified, didn't even put a time down, started all the way back in last place, and now up battling for a top 3, finishes the 25, but you just see the wadded up of drivers behind all the way, side-by-side racing from 14th on back. It's just pandemonium back there, which it has been like that since the drop of the green flag back at lap 1.
Yeah, you know, the guys told me everybody's going to want to get everything on these restarts. And it's proven to show that the aggression level is picked up due to that factor. And we've seen a lot of incidents after restarts. But right now, having a good little run so far. Looks like Brandon Cauley trying to work over Kyle Rochelle there for that 5th position. Can't look too far behind Brandon Cauley. Also, that's the 15 of Vincent Sword. He's made his way back up here. Top 7. Looking on that race truck also. Seems like he's still got a good bit of left front damage, so I don't know if that thing is going to be all the way up to par for what he wants, but we'll see what he can produce. Long runs was where that 15 really shone early in the race.
And also drivers that have been caught up in these last couple of incidences that were quick. We'll see how well they can develop moving forward. Max Foner back in 27th. He was one of those drivers that was running up in the top 15. Tom Bourne, who was running up in 3rd at one moment during this race, back in 24th. Both those drivers have a lot of work if they want to get back up front in the top 15, top 10. But certainly there's a lot of motivation knowing that they've got the speed to be up front. But as we look back, 2-3 wide action, it is still incredible to see these drivers battling so strong. But the most of the side-by-side racing that's going on currently is back in 13th, where we find that of Eric Crawley, Mark Morales, Sean Hutsteller, and also that of Anthony Ludi. 95, we really don't talk about the 95 that often, up in the top 15. Great run currently for himself.
Yeah, having a great run here battling with Sean Hutsteller, and they just went 3 wide around Mark Morales there to take that spot. So great job by Ludi there to take himself up into the top 14. 95 having a good day here in Nashville.
Anthony Ludi comes into tonight 33rd in points, having himself his 7th start of the season. 0 top 5, 0 top 10s, and 0 pole positions. So this right now, one of the best runs that we've seen him have currently. In Ludi doing the best that he can. He's battling with a driver that has shown to have speed. Sean Hutsteller up to 14th, 94. We've seen him do well, qualified in 3rd for today's race. Sean Hutsteller doing a lot of work on the inside, but once again, proving what we've heard all night long, so difficult to make any type of passes, especially with the dirty air and being on very similar tires to one another.
Yeah, you know, that dirty air doesn't help, but I think also that outside lane, it's really good to be able to hold someone down there and not let them track out towards the wall. Right here is where you want to be able to slide up in front and pull yourself out towards that wall, but the 95 is there on the door. He luckily clears him and gets ahead. There's the 94 now up to 14th to Sean Hutsteller.
We're going to now move things up to 9th place, where GT is making a great charge, as well as seeing that of Christopher Couric as they're battling side by side. Up in the booth, joining us, that of our pit reporter, Brian Johnson. Brian, what have you found so far down at pit road?
Well, guys, right now the consensus out there on the track is that it is extremely hard to pass. You have to get everything done on the short run. Saving tires for the long run, it doesn't matter right now. So everybody's having to be super aggressive. Everybody knows that it's about to get extremely racy out there. The heat is going to be turned up. And I got to looking at the lap times a little bit, long run lap times, and surprisingly enough, well, maybe not so surprisingly, but Mark Whitley up there in the lead has the fastest long run pace. I think mainly just because he has the clean air up there. But the second fastest guys on the long run are that of Danny and Vincent Sword. Brandon Cauley's up there too in the times. And, talked with Danny a little bit, and he's like, look, we got to get this done as soon as possible. He's going to be extremely aggressive trying to get that lead from Mark. So, just guys, is all take, no give right now.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian, for all the information. Kind of confirming what we were just talking about, Zach. It's just everyone, we could see it up at the booth, so difficult to make passes. We were on camera with that of Martin Morales for a quick second there. Got into the outside wall off of turn 4 3 laps ago. Into the infield grass. Solo incident with himself, and we stay green. But still, it's incredible to see how these drivers have been reacting. And what's even more incredible is watching some of these drivers that have had to rebound after issues earlier on. The 32, Jonathan Smith, who made contact with Tanner Johnston earlier in the race. That 32 machine now challenging to possibly be in the top 10.
Yeah, he's done a great job to rebound after that major incident. I mean, it was a huge wreck there. Luckily, he had that fast repair in the back pocket. Was able to use it now, working his way here. He's going to go to the inside of Christopher Keurig, try to make that move stick. Don't think it's going to be able to work, though. He's going to try to get the run off here and be able to move side by side. It's a great run there from Jonathan Smith, trying to work his way closer as he tries to go to the top 10. Here comes John Forbes to the inside.
John Forbes not going to be given any type of a give, understanding, hey, these laps taken away. We're soon to be on lap 100, marking us around 25 laps to go. You've got to go now, especially with these drivers that are this far back. They're about 5 seconds off from the leader, so you've got to be making these moves if you're wanting to get the best finish possible for yourself. And as these drivers that have been battling side by side up front and trying to get cracked into the top 10, drivers that have just cracked the top 20, Tom Bourne, we heard that it's extremely difficult to make passes. Well, the 31's now been able to move up to 20th. Max Foner has also been able to move up to 22nd.
Yeah, these two starting to make their way back through after that major incident they were involved in on that caution a few cautions ago. But very good rebound. We've seen good rebounds for a lot of guys at IGT. Rosario back up to 9th. We see him quickly do it. They're running out of time for the rebound, but I tell you what, if they can get themselves farther up there, maybe a top 15 or a top 10, I think Tom Warren and Max Fenner will come home saying, man, we did the most we could here tonight.
Now going to be moving up to 4th place, where Kyle Rochelle currently absolutely hounding Cody Reed and giving a slight bump, saying, give me some room, as the 21 goes onto the apron. Kyle Rochelle seems to be finding his mark, a little bit of a long run pace, put down the fastest lap that last go of the drivers that are in the top 5. Kyle Rochelle down defensively blocking, and Reed, a little bit of a bump. They are getting antsy up front, recognizing, hey, we got to keep the position we're in.
Man, Cody Reed fighting strong there. He started 33rd, now going to drop back to 4th, but man, what a run he's had. Rochelle, though, says, I ain't taking none of that. I'm trying to take this position, try to go up here and get himself maybe possibly in a chance to run down Cochran for second, or maybe even Mark Whitley for the lead. We'll have to see, though, here as he's able to pull that gap now. Rochelle, he may be the one to watch for as we got 25 to go.
No, we were talking about the drivers and heard it from Brian. The drivers feeling like, hey, the long run maybe not be something to worry about. But in my back of my mind, I'm wondering, have we had a long enough green flag run to really get a sense that you could have a better green flag run? And the fact that these drivers really finding a little bit more speed, we are seeing the aggression building up. As Brian Johnson, Ethan Smith battling for 5th. They're right on top of one another. James Loveland back into the mix for the 56 machine. Vincent Sword lingering back and watching these 3 drivers right on top of one another. You can just sense everyone is on go mode. There is no giving, there's no waiting. If you find an opening, you're sending that car there.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was so close between the 00 there and the one of Brandon Cauley's. Now Loveland racing hard with the 00 Ethan Smith. Luckily, Cauley was able to not make contact as the 00 slides across his nose. It's all popping off here for these positions. Is now Vincent Sword also trying to get himself up into the picture. I think that damage on the nose of that car really has hurt it, as he's going to be trying to take 7th, though, for Ethan Smith.
Smith seems to be dealing with the most issues right now. The 00 was battling up in the top 5, now hoping to just stay inside of the top 10 currently, as Sora to the inside trying to make the pass done. I'm looking at this field right now. I'm questioning for Vincent Sora with that damage that he's gotten for himself. How well can he hold on? But this doesn't mean that further back the racing has cooled down at all, as drivers still about 2-3 wide. It might be bringing out a yellow back for 27th position. Freed, Pike, Cooler, they have not given up. And also Guildhouse, these are 4 drivers that we've seen bring out yellows before in other races, and it's because they just are so aggressive. But hey, these are the guys you've been racing around all season long. We talk about the tempers of the drivers that are battling for a potential chance for a championship and racing for the playoffs, and these guys are racing for what it's been like positions and just pride between themselves.
Yeah, they're back here battling it up, man. You know, they're in their own little race back here. You know, this is definitely, you know, this is all about trying to go forward here, get the best finish they can. But everybody definitely being aggressive and showing back here. I mean, look at the damage on the back bumper of that 29. You've seen it all throughout the field. Lots of damage on a lot of trucks. Ooh, battle for actually the 5th position. I think Loveland, yeah, he breaks into the top 5. Cody Reed, though, we talked about him tonight at 33. He was running so good there up in 3rd. He's starting to drop back now. That long run pace not in the 25 side. He definitely got the short run pace to go with the 25.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what I was really talking on. The point of these drivers, we haven't really had a long enough run to see if a driver was saving. How well would that be helping them later on? I'm looking at these last laps that were just put down. James Loveland, also that of Brady Cauley putting out some of the fastest laps, but Couric as well as that of Crawley going to be drivers making contact in yellow here with less than 20 laps to go.
Oh man, 8th caution of the night, and that's contact between the 69 and the 01 here, and all it's popping off on 3rd and 4 there, and a little bit of help from the 01 to the 69 here.
Drivers just getting back on the throttle way sooner. I think that was Crawley seeing, hey, I can get back into the throttle, and then just runs over the 69, who was going to see very tight if we've got the replay. But Zach, a late caution, this changes everything, and kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of the broadcast. We've noted on it a couple of times throughout the night. Mark Whitley, who's our leader, he's in a prime spot if everyone's on the same set of tires to win this race, but this is going to be a key pit stop on if Mark Whitley and who else behind him comes into pit road.
Yeah, this is going to be so critical, Sam. I think everybody is coming. There's no doubt about that here. Yeah, as you're going to see them all take the left-hand turn here down the pit road. It's going to be critical, though. Do not slide through the box. Oh, and Whitley playing a little bit of gamesmanship there. He speeds up right before pit road, stacks them all up. That's an interesting strategy there from the 77.
You got to play all the different games, especially since for that of Mark Whitley, yeah, Vincent Sword might not be on your back bumper, but his teammate Danny Cochran is, and that's, you know, you might have beef with someone else, but it seems like if you got beef with one driver, that's beef with that whole entire team as a whole. As Mark Whitley clean into his pit box, same for Loveland, as well as the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. Everyone will see who can get out of pit road faster. Can we see anyone? As Smith gonna be first out, beating everyone. And for the 00, 2 tires looks to be the call for that of Ethan Smith.
I tell you what, this right here too, it's going to open up the door big time for Danny Cochran. This is going to put him on the bottom lane in 3rd. Smith's going to be restarting. It will, you know, determines where Smith is going to restart, but you know, Smith most likely going to restart on that bottom lane, I would expect. And he'll be on those 2 tires. If Cochran can clear the 77 and then get by Smith, it's going to be game on from that point. Or does the 2 tires work? We don't know. We haven't seen it all night.
We haven't seen it all night, and we haven't said thanks to these people at all tonight. Well, so let's say it. That of McConey Setup Shop. If you are looking to get some of the best setups out there on iRacing, McConey Setup Shop is the way to go. And if you'd like to get 10% off of setups at McConey Setup Shop, use the promo code FFB10 for 10% off. Again, that is FFB10 for 10% off at McConey Setup Shop as well. If you want to get coached by some of the best out there from Richmond Esports, hey, a lot of these Coca-Cola Esports drivers, they're now going to be on break as the offseason has come. A lot of drivers going to be having some free time, so why not get coached by some of the drivers that are racing out there, turning iRacing into a career? And hey, some of their advice could help you to develop into a better driver and potentially aim for the top. McConey Setup Shop, if you'd like to get coached by some of the best, use the link of McConeySetupShop.com/coaching. It's $25 an hour, but it's worth every single penny Thank you so much to Maconey Setup Shop. They're our setups, but they're your victories. Zach, drivers getting stacked up, getting ready to go. Ethan Smith, Mark Whitley, Danny Cochran, Kyle Rochelle, Brandon Cauley going to be your top 5.
Oh, man, this is getting down to the point of the race where you can go ahead and put it out in the chat, everybody. Put the pepper emojis out there, because I'm telling you what, right now is going to be the most critical phase. Who can get ahead? We've seen clean air and track position be so critical all night. Ethan Smith plays the strategy, gets himself out front with 2 tires. But not only that, that shakes up to where the rest of these guys restart. Before, we've seen Mark Whitley mostly start on the bottom with that clean air. Now we're going to see him start up top. He's going to have to be there very much waiting for when that 0-0 goes. He's hoping he can clear that 2 off of 2, though.
Yeah, I'm looking at the field, and a lot of the drivers that have a fast repair still left in their back pocket. There are a lot more drivers that have used their fast repairs than still have them. Up front, Mark Whitley as well as Kyle Rochelle going to be the 2 drivers, and Brandon Cauley in the top 5 that have a fast repair left. James Loveland at 6 also has one. Cody Reed back in 9th has one. But everyone else from that of 12th moving forward have already used their fast repair, including our leader currently, Ethan Smith and Danny Cochran. Both of those drivers on the inside already used their fast repairs. So if they get caught up in any type of a wreck or incident, their day could be done. Speaking of days done, Jacob Morris, our one and only DNF, John McAdams, technically a DNF, but he had disconnection issues on why he is no longer racing. 32 drivers here ready to race up front. Ethan Smith, Mark Whitley, Danny Cochran, Kyle Rochelle, Brandon Cauley going to be your top 5 as we get ready to go racing. 14 laps to go for Operation Tomahawk 125. And it's going to be Ethan Smith, a little bit delayed on the start, but it's going to be a great launch for Danny Cochran, putting Mark Whitley back to 3rd.
And look at that, Danny Cochran jumps immediately to the inside of the 2 machine. He goes to the lead. What a pass from Danny Cochran, but here comes the 0-0 on the inside off of 2.
A great crossover move in that of Ethan Smith. He might just have 2 tires, maybe not the start that he wanted, but a great battling move to the inside, side by side for the lead. It's the 0-0 of Ethan Smith, the 2 of Danny Cochran, and Mark Whitley lingering in 3rd. Here comes the 2, trying to do a crossover move, but just could not get back to the throttle. And here comes now Brandon Cauley to the inside for 3rd.
Look at his move, Brandon Cauley trying to make everything work here in the last 15 laps. 13 to go. He's trying to take the 3rd spot as they're wrecking behind. Caution down the racetrack.
Carnage, it's going to be the 95 involved and others. The 31 of Tom Bourne involved, as well as, I believe, that of 99 of Earhart, and also the 24 of Martin Morales. And that's a lot of drivers that have already used their fast repairs and seeing their engines blown up and their days done as well.
Oh, man, let's go back here, see how it all plays out on the Freaky Fast. Instant replay. You're going to watch here from Tony Ludi in the 95 machine what exactly plays out in front of him. And, oh, contact up ahead to Tyler Dingler. 31 of Tom Bourne goes around. The 66 of Shaw, there's where it started all around. And there's just a compilation of other drivers added into the wreckage here at the turn 1 and 2 there, man. That is unfortunate. Tom Bourne tonight has just not, unfortunately, been his night with the way it's played out here.
Yeah, and for Tom Bourne, I mean, there was contact even going into the corner. There were 3 wide, that of Gregory Shaw, that as well as that of Dangler. Dangler came up, got into Bourne, got into Earhart, and that just started a chain reaction that brought out this yellow. And our 9th caution of the day, 8th on-track incident to bring it out of yellow, as one of those yellows was for our stage break. But wow, a lot of carnage, a lot of disappointment. But before that restart, what do you got for us, Brian, on any information on what these drivers were feeling coming into that restart?
Oh, I got a ton of information. Well, it was really just the same thing from everybody, pretty much. I had 3 guys tell me no lift, gonna stick it right onto the bumper, and I think we saw that. So these guys know that with it being so hard to pass, you have to get everything done as soon as possible. And I think I've probably said that 3 or 4 times tonight. But you know, these guys are you know, it's full send from here on out. And you know, these guys know that clean air is king, so they're going to be fighting to get it. And I think we're in for quite the finish here.
Yeah, I really do think so as well. Big thanks to Brian Johnston being our pit road reporter for the night. Coming to less than 10 laps to go when we go green. Zach, what a night it's been. It's been awesome to have a pit road reporter for the night. But, man, these drivers, that certainly up front the aggression was there. But now we get to see what is the back half of the field. Are they even going to allow us to race up front to finish out this race? As we are getting things situated on our end, I mean, I got to say, Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, Brandon Cauley, Mark Whitley, all of them putting the pressure on, wanting to have a great run here tonight, and understanding there is a lot of pressure to run well. And right now, Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, they were doing a great job. Brandon Cauley able to move up to third. We'll see how well Mark Whitley can do to try to move and make a pass, to move from fourth to possibly go for a win here, as another car is going to DNF. Tom Horn is now officially out of this race, bringing us to 3 drivers officially out, as Ludi and Martin Morales both still in pit road getting service done. Zach, looking at the drivers, less than 10 laps to go when we go green. There is no more give. It is all take from here on out.
Yeah, you know, our pit reporter Brian said it best. It's going to be full send. It's going to be straight to the back bumper, down into one. Everybody's going to be going for every little position. I mean, we've seen Danny Cochran, the inside lane on that last restart, it was such a big head of steam. The one was hitting the two was hitting the 00. I mean, they were all trying to go forward and make the momentum to get down into one. Cochran had such a good run. He dives in the one, slides up the racetrack. But one thing I will say I noticed, that 00 had some very good turn in that race truck. It seemed to turn very well with those 2 tires. And I tell you, sometimes 2 tires can make your balance just right. And if it works out perfectly, he can just time these restarts well enough, Ethan Smith could be our winner. And I do not put those 2 tires out of our thoughts yet, because, man, it's going to be a battle down to the end. Brandon Cauley now sets up in third. He's in a good spot. But also, what about those 2 trucks up there in the second and third lane? You know, on the outside, that's going to be Mark Whitley and Vincent Sword, our rivals from last week, and really seasonal rivals, as they've been around each other pretty much every race this season. It's going to get real spicy here, Sam, at least to say.
Yeah, I mean, seasonal rivals, they have had their, you know, a little bit of bickers even before this season even started, back for season 3 of the Cup Series for the NAISCC Cup Series. So I would not be surprised to see Mark Whitley in the 77 and the 15. They're finally close to one another. It's taken them all race long, but maybe all the other drivers have taken that tension away, or have they remembered on how much there was boiling after last week and the last couple of weeks for these drivers. But up front, instead of Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, Brandon Cauley, Mark Whitley, Kyle Rochelle, your top 5, all ready to get things going. 8 laps to go, and it's already Ethan Smith playing a couple of mind games, getting that of Cauley, not able to get going. But, oh boy, they're already going to be 3 wide into turn number 1, and Vincent Sword's already got to move down. That of Danny Cochran's got to hold on, and he'll do so, but it's 3 wide for third.
Oh, we're going to have the battle we've been waiting for all week long. The 77 and the 15 side by side here. 8 laps to go. Battle for that 4th position. But Danny Cochran up ahead of him. He's taking chances. He's going to the inside of Brandon Cauley, while Ethan Smith, he's trying to run away with 7 to go.
Hey, we're loving the fact that they're hard racing up front, and also got to be careful of the drivers further back. They were almost 4 or 5 wide, back for 26th position. They've cleaned it up, but up front, it's Brandon Cauley, Danny Cochran. Cochran doing a great job to the inside, but the longer they stay side by side, the longer we're going to be seeing these laps tick away. And if we get to less than 3 laps to go, and we're at the same distance between one another, Ethan Smith, he could say this race is all his. Is contact for second. Danny Cochran into that of Cauley into the wall, and they're scrubbing, losing ground, and it's the one who falls back to 10th.
Oh, this is getting real spicy. The 1 is out of the picture now, but the 2 blocking the 77. The 15 gets to his outside. Does he use him up here on corner X? Still, we're going to see, but they're racing side by side for that 3rd spot now. Vincent Sword, Mark Whitley trying to do everything in their power, but Ethan Smith, he has found the pace. The two tires must be just something clicking here for him as he drives away.
You noted on it, it was the corner in that the 00 was finding with the older tires. Just 2 tires were taken on that last stop, and it has been a success for the 00. And also it helps when you've got rivals and competitors riding on top of one another. Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley, Vincent Sora, they are not going to give up. You got 2 teammates against 1 driver, the 15 and the 2, teaming up on the 77. And also, you've got the driver that started all the way back in last. Contact, Kyle Rochelle, go with that, Cody Reed, contact. The 25, he sees himself with a chance. They're going to be 3-4 wide coming across the line. 4 laps to go, Zach, and this race might not be over on this stint.
No, it very well might not be, man. This is getting crazy. Rochelle now slipped back here after that contact. What a save from him with Cody Reed getting into that car. But Brandon Cauley, he's back there also. We got a guy blinking, John Forbes at 11, who's up in position. But right now, the battle for second is what is really heating up. 3 to go coming out of 4 here. Ethan Smith, he's got a gap. If he can just keep it together, if we stay green, he might be the winner here tonight.
I mean, we're looking at that last lap that was just put down. Closest driver on pace was Mark Whitley, but it's honestly just hundreds of seconds. That's just not enough ground that can be made up in 3 laps. Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley, your top 3. And right now, too far back is Vincent Sword to even have a shot to win the race. It is all down to our top 3, and that's if Danny Cochran can find a little bit more speed. But Ethan Smith out of the corner, coming to 2 laps to go. The 00 with the 2-tire strategy. A gutsy call by himself, and he's up front by over half a second and almost a full second as it comes out of turn number 2.
He must have had something up his back pocket there, Sam, as he's had that knowledge, I think, in there. But right now, Cochran's still hanging on to second. Ethan Smith, for the penultimate time, down to 3 and 4.
Drivers further back wanting to see another yellow for Ethan Smith. He wants the white flag. He'll get it. It's your cosmic candle. White flag thrown in the air. The 00 with over a half a second gap lead to that of Danny Cochran and Mark Whitley. I think the question's going to be for Mark Whitley. Will he force the issue for the pass for second? But up front, it's all Ethan Smith. Smith, who we've seen have speed and was one of our biggest movers on points last week. Coming into tonight, he was 10th in points, and coming around turns 3 and 4, Ethan Smith finds himself in victory lane for the first time this season. The 00 locked into the playoffs.
What a job by Ethan Smith. 2 tires, the call of the night, the call of the season possibly. I mean, we have seen, pit road be an important place, to get that pit stops done quickly. He does it faster than anybody else by electing to take only 2 tires, and man, we just got to applaud him for that. He not only did he just go out there and win it, he drove away from him.
It wasn't even close. It was just pure domination on that last restart. Ethan Smith, the 2-tire stop to move himself up 4 positions to get that lead position. We knew if you had the lead spot, it was going to be so difficult to make the pass just with dirty air alone, let alone just the speed that of Ethan Smith had the exits of these corners. But whew, what a win for himself. And again, with this win, Ethan Smith, who came in 10th in points, is now locked in if he stays in the top 20. And this is exactly what you want to see, especially late in the regular season. You're trying to lock yourself in, and with this win, Ethan Smith moves on. But for us here tonight, there's still a lot of action to be talked about, debates, how the drivers feel. Mark Whitley, Danny Cochran, and your winner, Ethan Smith, all are going to have a conversation with Zach Hall in just a few, as we will be right back here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
Wow, what a race we've seen here tonight at the Nashville Superspeedway with the NAISCC Truck Series. Man, I cannot wait to talk to these drivers here. We're going to talk to our third place man, though. First, on Mark Whitley, a dominant performance sitting on pole and getting himself out front for majority of this race. Let's hear from him after, unfortunately, bringing it home third. Hey, Mark, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yep, gotcha.
Well, man, I tell you what, unfortunate finish there for you, buddy. Had a dominant performance here tonight for the Nashville Superspeedway. But what it seems to be the tail of the tape here tonight, really the big thing we looked at the end of the day, track position, man, and not able to hang on to it there after having to restart second with the 00 there, taking 2 tires. Man, tough ending, but I tell you what, a hard-fought battle. How was Nashville Superspeedway for you, buddy?
Yeah, well, ran a little practice earlier in the week and got the kind of feeling of it. You knew you couldn't burn the right front off of it, so even getting the pole position was a big help. Just trying to be able to run my own race, being fast enough where pretty much, I mean, the guys you couldn't really pass that well unless you got a really good run off a corner. So I was taking it real easy to try to get the run off. So it was just about, running my own race up there at the front and then, dirty air. Eventually people that were getting too close to me, they'd burn their tires off and I could pull away a little bit and just have a little breathing room. And whole race, I mean, it was kind of ebbs and flows, cautions, but whenever we got behind on track position, we had fresher tires to make up for it, and didn't take long to get back to the track position we lost. And then at the end there, I mean, I thought I didn't even think about 2 tires being a call, and hindsight's 2020. Probably was the better call. It would have freed it up a little bit. And he's a little tight in the center, but on that restart when I was second on Ethan, Cauley gave Cochran a little bump there right when Ethan started going, and it kind of screwed me over because I thought I got a pretty good jump on it, but when they got that bump together like that, it was pretty much like a freight train, and it kind of caught me off guard, and I kind of missed turn 1 a little bit and got behind Cauley, and then the next restart, it was just about trying to get around them as fast as I can. But I mean, we were pretty much we all had one heat cycle on the tires, and Cochran and Cauley got into it there, and I thought I might be able to get up underneath Danny, but he kind of cut my nose off a little bit. It's end of the race kind of stuff happens. It's just a little depressing, a little down. Just lead all those laps, feel like you got the right strategy call at the end, just kind of come up short. It just kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit. But third's third, and I beat a certain somebody, so what's a good showing too. Thought we might have a little another incident there at the end of the race, but all good, all turned out good. So can't complain too much. Third place is third place. So.
Yeah, man. Like you said, third place is third place. It's going to help you also out in the points too, man. You do have the 2 wins to go along with that, so you are locked into the playoffs. Really, just trying to stay in that top 20 here before the end of these playoffs continue out. But man, next week we got Martinsville. I mean, Martinsville. We all know what it could be. It is always a brawl at that place. How you feeling about going in there with the 77 man? Have shown a lot of speed at a lot of different tracks this season, man.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm sure you remember we ran Martinsville last night, and felt like I had one of the better cars out there then, and just kind of got unlucky with the damage model on iRacing. So hopefully, this one got a fast repair. So if that happens again next week in here, hopefully I'll be able to get a quick fix and get back out there. But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, tempers are gonna be flaring no matter who you are. I mean, no matter if you got a problem with somebody going into the race or not. I mean, you're gonna have a problem with probably 5 people when you leave. It's just how it is, especially when we have this many people out here. I honestly don't expect there to be too many long green flag runs, but it's going to be about track position again because Martinsville, especially, it's tough to pass, especially with this many cars. So, going to try to get some practice in. Hopefully, we can sit on the pole again and try to control the field and maybe get a little bit more lucky with pit strategy at the end of there.
Well, man, I tell you what, 3 poles up to this part of the season, we wouldn't be surprised if you were able to get that 4th, man, Martin. So it's going to be critical, like you said. We'll see how you can pull it off next week. But before we let you get out here and go celebrate or go get ready for Martinsville, man, anybody you want to send a shout out to, Mark?
Yeah, give a big shout out to Harpoon Designs. Give me all these awesome paint teams to run every chance I get. Shout out to my parents, always tuning in. Grandparents too, always pleasure having a support crew, and thanks to the league and the broadcast. Both league's just awesome. All the drivers we have, 30 plus every week. I mean, we're all over halfway in the season. We still got almost 30 plus car fields. That's pretty awesome. And for y'all putting on a great broadcast, it might hurt my heart a little bit to go back and watch this one, but I always do, no matter what the result is, because it's always a fun watch, no matter what. That's for sure.
Well, man, we appreciate the kind words, Mark. Man, you have a fantastic night. We'll catch you next time here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, brother.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
All right, that was our third place driver of Mark Whitley. A dominant performance tonight, just not the finish he probably wanted or deserved. But that is racing, folks. Sometimes it doesn't play out the way you want it. So, unfortunately for him, he'll have to roll into Martinsville next week, where I'm sure he'll have another fantastic run. Let's hear from, though, our second place man, not only in this race, but maybe even, he is our second place man in points. So, yeah, let's hear from Danny Cochran in the 2 machine. Hey, Danny, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, man, what a wild race here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway. Seemed like track position was the key, topic we heard. We had our pit reporter Brian Johnston coming in reporting a lot of what you guys said here tonight. And man, that track position staying out front in that clean air was very critical. And wild restarts. I had to get everything on them restarts. Take us through that one restart though, where you take the lead and then slide up the racetrack just a little bit, because man, you got to feel like that one maybe got away from you there a little bit, but nonetheless, just great battles all around there.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate. I'm thrilled to get second, but on that restart right there, I couldn't have been happier. Brandon shoved me right around the 77, and that was pretty awesome. And then I guess I just outshifted Smith there before we got to the corner. And I was watching in my mirror while I was watching him, and that just caused me to overdrive it and let him get back around me. But frustrating as it is, man, that was his race. He had the strategy call. He deserved that win 110%. It's cool to see him win a race. He's really been silently really consistent all season, and saw that last week at Milwaukee where he ended up second that week. And it's cool to see him getting a win like that. But yeah, it's really unfortunate for me. I felt like I was fast and I put in a lot of practice this week, but anytime you come home with the top 3, you can't be too disappointed, right?
No, you definitely can't, buddy. I tell you what, it's you've had a good season up to this point for sure, man. 6 top 5s now to add this one in there. So 6 top 5s of your first 10 races. That's a pretty good ratio, man. So you're definitely looking on the better side there, considering the league side of things, and definitely second in points here entering tonight. That's a good points night here for you nonetheless. But next week, man, we had a wild race. We talked about track position being a huge thing here, and that's tough to pass. But we're going to Martinsville, man. The paperclip, the half-mile of destruction. How you feeling about going into there next week? Especially when we pack fields like this, it's going to be a wild one.
If you see me in the top 10, it'll be a miracle. I'm decent on other short tracks, decent at mile and a halfs. Feel like I'm okay. But when it comes to that track, man, I just can't quite figure it out. So I'm really happy we had a solid run this week, keeping us up there in the top 3 in points. Hopefully I close the gap on my teammate a little bit. And going into next week, I'm honestly not looking forward to it. I'll be honest with you.
Well, man, it's going to be fun to watch a lot of guys going in there and having to figure it out for sure. It's going to be a wild one. So congrats on second here tonight, Danny. It was a pleasure to bring the action to all the fans at home. We had a great one up here in the booth, man. Before we let you get out of here, though, and go celebrate with your friends and family, anybody wants to send a shout to, man?
First and foremost, Brandon Cauley. If it wasn't for him, I would have never got up there with even the chance to win that thing, let alone second. And when we went into 3, I got a really bad restart. And when we went into 3, I got the apron. I was racing him hard. He was racing me hard. That's what you do. And I got the apron. I slid up into him, and I completely killed him. I hated that happened, man. I felt awful about that, especially, we're going to be running together some later this week, and I really hated for that to happen. But it's unfortunate. But shout out to Buddy's Custom Baits, Hot Lap Designs. Vincent had a heck of a comeback, and quick apology to Mark Whitley. He should have turned me, and I told him this. I didn't know that I wasn't clear of him when I threw that block going down the front stretch. I told him that if I ever do that again, I want him to send me into the inside wall, and I won't say a word about it, because I thought I was clear. I wasn't. He cut me a big break there that I didn't deserve, but I'm thankful that he did.
Well, man, I tell you what, you got your break here. Hopefully, Martinsville, maybe you'll get a few breaks cut for you also there. That place will work out. But, man, again, congrats on second. We'll catch you there at Martinsville next week, Danny. Thank you for everything you do here at the league, buddy, and everything up here in the broadcast.
All right, thank you guys.
Alrighty, everybody. That was our second place driver of Danny Cochran in the 2 machine. What a night it was for him. Our second place man in points. But the driver finished second last week in Milwaukee. He wins here tonight at the National Super Speedway. He said that track was probably his favorite. I think he needs to change it. It's National Super Speedway now. That's the way I'm going to look at it from now on. Let's hear from Ethan Smith in the 00, your winner here tonight for the Operation Tomahawk 125. Hey, Ethan Smith, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Loud and clear.
Well, I tell you what, the call of the race, maybe the call of the year, Ethan, my friend. You go from the 9th position, you pit and take 2 tires, and you make everybody look like, wow, we should have done that because, man, it looked well. It looked so good, and it worked so well. I mean, take us through that there and the confidence that you had to have to put yourself out front there with 2 tires.
Well, the first pit stop I made was just a test run. I did that and just to see how it would run, and it stuck, and it actually worked out pretty good. And I ended up starting behind Danny at the time. And I knew after that that if a situation like this where there's 30 to 20 to go, I'm going to go in and get 2 tires as long as my last stop was 4 fresh ones. So I made sure the next 2 were 4 fresh ones, and that last caution really helped me out. And I went with my gut, and I wanted that first place spot to start, and I got it, and that clean air really helped.
That it did, man. That clean air really seemed to be the key here tonight to get out front, get that track position. But you had to kind of go through trials and tribulations there. You know, you start out front with the 2 tires. You have Cochran dive to the inside, take the position. But, man, how are you able to get back by him? You know, it looked like almost those 2 tires even improved the balance of your car. You turned the fastest lap of your race out front there.
I felt a lot more comfortable with those 2 tires than I ever did 4. It felt a little looser doing that, and yeah, he got a good bump from Brandon Cauley coming up behind him, and he got on the inside, and I just changed up and got him on the inside on the next corner. But no, those 2 tires definitely I felt faster and it felt smoother. It was able to let the car turn better rather than getting so tight.
Yeah, it definitely did seem like that, man. That is something I think a lot of guys will be jotting down for future here at the Nashville Super Speedway because it definitely looked to play out pretty well for you there yourself. You know, you come in here tied for 10th in the points here tonight, Ethan. You get that win to lock yourself not only into the playoffs there, but you just got to stay above that top 20 in the points. You were in a safer position to make the playoffs, but you still were within that cut. How does it feel, though, to get that win, to know you're going to be locked in, especially with some racetracks like Martinsville and Richmond looming in the final 3?
It is a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. My goal, I said this last week in last week's interview, that it's no more passive driving. I have to be aggressive. And since that's happened, I've got a 2nd and 1st place finish. So I'm going to stick with that. And you know, I'm looking forward to Martinsville. I like short track racing, and I like that track. So I'm looking forward to the tracks coming up.
Well, man, it's going to be fun to watch you go out there and compete these final 3 weeks with that same aggression, man. It's definitely playing out well for yourself. Like you said, last week at the Milwaukee Mile, getting that 2nd place position, then coming here and making it one better to get yourself in victory lane to get that first win of the season. So congrats on that, Ethan. Before we let you get out here and go celebrate this win, man, but anybody want to send a special thanks on that 00 machine?
Any friends and family that are watching, Hot Lap Designs, Danny Cochran for this awesome paint scheme. You guys for broadcasting. Just thankful y'all are doing this. It's really fun and I enjoy it.
Well, Ethan, we appreciate you guys out on the track. You guys put the show on. Thank you very much, buddy. Go have fun and celebrate this win, man. It means a lot for sure here to win at this truck league. You've done it tonight, man. So congrats, and we'll catch you next week in Martinsville.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight at the Operation Tomahawk 125, Ethan Smith in the 00 machine. What a run it was for him. I just cannot applaud him enough for the call and the guts it takes to make that call. And you heard him say, I knew earlier in the race, I tried it. He learned from that point earlier in the race that 2 tires would work. He goes and uses it later in the race. And that is the thing, as a driver, you got to go out there and try them options. And he did it. And, man, I just got to applaud him for that. What a drive for that 00. As we're going to be looking to pull up our race results here tonight at the Nashville Super Speedway. What a crazy, crazy race it was. I've had such a fun time up here calling it. As there it is, our final results of tonight's race. It's Ethan Smith bringing home that victory in the 00 machine. Second, it's going to go to the 2 machine of Danny Cochran. Third is going to be to the truck who kind of dominated tonight. That's Mark Whitley, our pole setter. Fourth is going to go to Vincent Sword with a bounce back drive for him there. That's one of a champion for sure. Our points leader there to bounce back to fourth. Fifth is going to be James Loveland. Sixth is going to go to Sean Huffsteller. Seventh, John Forbes. Eighth and GT Irizar there, his debut here at the NAISCC Truck Series. Ninth is going to go to Jonathan Smith, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be Cody Reed in the 25 machine. As we look through the rest of the field, definitely some notable drivers there taking a back seat in these finishing positions. Mostly Kyle Rochelle there ran up front most of the night. He's going to be back in the 12th position. Another driver really having a tough night out here was the number 23 Taylor Johnston back there in the 22nd position, who's right on that cut line. We heard from him earlier, involved in the incident. And luckily able to get back up there to the 22nd, but not the greatest night for him for points-wise. And also Brandon Cauley down at 30th there, late up in front and involved in an incident with Danny Cochran, pushes him back to 30th. And that's how easy it is to lose your positions. As you can see, the results here tonight were very tough for a few drivers, but Nashville Super Speedway, it was a great time for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, nonetheless, to say. We had a great time, and also a great time. We got our pit reporter, Brian Johnston, up here. Brian, any final thoughts you got, buddy, before we head off and go to Martinsville next week? Great job, I got to say, for you up here. First time in the booth as a pit reporter. But any final thoughts, man?
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, what a fantastic race. When it's hard to pass like that, it makes the passes that you do see all that more special. And just being able to talk to the guys during the race, seeing what they have to say, about what their strategies are and about each other. I think I enjoyed that more than anything. But next week at Martinsville, I think I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. But tonight was fantastic, and yeah, just glad to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back too, Brian Johnston, up here in the booth on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's a pleasure to have you, man. So thank you for bringing this to us here. Final thoughts from myself, everybody. What a fantastic race it was. And we see this week in and week out with this truck series. We can have caution field races, and the endings are always spectacular. It's always a different spin added onto it, and always great effort from everybody here at the league. And I just can't applaud them enough. And heading off into Martinsville next week, one of my favorite racetracks to call. Hopefully we can see some green flag racing there. I think we can with this truck league. It's a great group of guys. A lot of trucks on the track, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. It's going to be a tough week next week with the amount of trucks we have. It's very easy to run into one another. But at some point, we're going to get that long green flag run. It's going to be fun to watch. And I'm going to tell you what, that finish at the end, not only is it going to be amazing to see who wins it, but man, we're going to have drama as everybody's going to be like Mark Whitley. I'll take a quote from him. He said there's going to be at least 5 guys you're mad at when you leave there. And, it could be upwards of 10 by the time we leave Martinsville. So it's going to be fun. And then we head off to Richmond in 2 weeks from there. Short track racing all around here in the final 3 weeks before the playoffs. What a fantastic night it's been, though. So thank you all for tuning in here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that thumbs up button to get our likes up and help us out on the YouTube algorithm side. And also hit that subscribe and bell notification button if you haven't yet, because you can be notified each and every time we go live here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as we got racing all throughout the week here that you do not want to miss. So make sure you hit that button. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to send it up to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast here at the Nashville Super Speedway.
All right. Thank you, everybody out there. Thank you, Brian, for coming on back here to Freaky Fast. Haven't seen his face, haven't seen his face, but, we've seen his face. Anyways, long story short, we haven't heard his voice in a long time, so it's great to have an old commentator back up in the booth, running pit reporter for everybody out there. So hopefully everybody enjoyed that little bit of new content that we brought here on Monday nights, and we'll see where that goes into the future. Also, thank you to Sam. He had to take off and run, and thank you, Zach, for calling great racing, and all the other ones here calling great racing. But hopefully everybody enjoyed the little bit of new content that we put out there. Like I said, we had the pit reporter, we had the in-car, which is something that is being worked on. So if you go back and watch this replay, don't forget to clip it out or post in a comment below on YouTube and let us know if you liked it or not. Or what we can work on to make it a little bit better. You know, we don't know unless you let us know, and we'll do the best that we can. But like Zach said, everybody knows what to do here. We do much appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that share button. Share it to your favorite social media platform of your choosing, to your friends and family. We would do much appreciate that. Like they said, next week we will be at Martinsville, and well, we've seen some heat and banging, and I think it was one of the most heated banging races here with the trucks here with the NAISCC Truck Series. One of the cleanest ones, actually, through the season here. There wasn't too much beating and banging going on towards the end of the race with 5 laps to go with our commentators losing their voice like we have been for the past 3 weeks with these guys. So they do put on the action. So make sure that you don't miss any of that every Monday night at 8:50. But with that being said, our next televised broadcast here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Wednesday night. Special event. It's going to be a charity event. Make sure that you come out and watch that with Bikes for Tykes. We'll get more detail into that as it comes closer to Wednesday, but we do ask you to please come out for a little bit. There'll be some descriptions in the link in the descriptions below on how to help this Bikes and Tykes. It's something very, very awesome that Scott's doing over there at Underdog Racing League for the children with Christmas coming up. So it's an awesome charity, and I would recommend, if you got $5 to donate to it. I mean, any money's any money, and it really helps the kids out. So with that being said, we'll catch everybody Wednesday night at 8:20, a special time instead of 8:30. But until then, have a great rest of your Monday night. Have a great Tuesday. Don't work too hard. Be safe on Wednesday, and we'll catch everybody on Wednesday night. But until then, as always, here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we like to say God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.